Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, a member of the Podbros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another podcast you want to listen to. And please visit our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, Tape Armor, Angry Joe Coffee, and PR Performance. And go find all of our old shows on bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and today I've got a special guest with me. We have a law enforcement professional here with us, and he's going to talk about his jiu-jitsu experiences, being a member of the I guess, very well-known New York City Police Department, as well as doing jiu-jitsu in New York. So we got Mike DeGrunt with us today. So, Mike, how's it going, man?
Good. Good afternoon, everyone. This is an amazing opportunity. Thanks for actually allowing me to come on here. I appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, man. Anytime we have like law enforcement, military, anybody on the show, or anybody with a unique experience, I love like just talking to them about how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu affects their lives and how they incorporate it in their everyday living.
Yeah, definitely. Jiu-Jitsu is it's an amazing, I don't know, do you call it a sport nowadays or martial art or just a way of life? You know, it takes on so many different hats, you know, in your life.
Yeah, you definitely, dude, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, honestly. Everybody does take at it a different way, you know, whether it's a sport or a martial art or a life. I'd say it's all three in all fairness. Everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everybody who participates in it's going to have those three things. So
I think sometimes it depends on what you're going through in life too, where it's at, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, like some days, like if you're training for your job, like, you know, law enforcement, it's martial art, man, and a way of life. And other, you know, some people are definitely going to be competing and whatnot. Focus on the sport aspect.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, definitely.
For our listeners to better get to know you, could you go ahead and just run through your history with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, your experiences, where you came from, and what you're doing nowadays?
Well, I didn't even know what Jiu-Jitsu was, and actually it was introduced when I was in the Army. I was in the 3rd Infantry Division in Fort Stewart. I was a member of the 2-7 Infantry Regiment, Cotton Balers. And, you know, that was when Army combatives just basically started.
Right.
And the only thing that basically we saw that I could relate to was the closed guard. And it was just a brawl, you know, in the dirt, wearing your BDUs. You go out there and somebody pulls guard and you just try your best to get out of it. But I didn't really know too much about jiu-jitsu. It wasn't popular. Wrestling was always popular, and judo. I got out of the Army. I was hired for the police department in 2006. And I really still at that point, it wasn't really popular. Even in law enforcement, there was very few people that trained anything like that. And I think, you know, at a point in my life, I started going through some really deep personal issues, you know, some really deep family issues. And I was at a breaking point, you know, especially, you know, being a veteran, you know, and your deployments and, you know, dealing with your own personal issues. You got to deal with work issues and family issues. And, you know, just one day I was just like, you know what? I need to do something with myself to keep my mind busy. So I just Googled it, and this academy came up. My first academy was Henzo Gracie in Middletown, New York. And I walked in there, and I got introduced to my actual first instructor, which is Brian Soltra. He's a black belt now. And it's something very funny about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, any of the grappling arts, wrestling, judo, sambo, any of those things like that, especially for veterans, you know, the fact that you're in a physical confrontation, you're like in a combat situation, but it's controlled. You're not actually going to, you know, die or get hurt to that extreme. You know, I think it's very healthy for a lot of veterans and even law enforcement to take time to train in these arts.
No, I agree with that 100%. Like you're talking about going through helping you dealing with deployment issues and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people have talked about the benefits of using that for mental health, as far as you know, veterans of the military or law enforcement, you know, any of the first responders. Like, it's done numerous like great things for those people, helping kind of decompress. Like you say, like, oh, you got to do something. I'm with you there. You know, you just sitting around like, I gotta do something. And usually for me, like, I'm so tired at the end of class, a lot of my problems are just like, it's too much energy to worry about, honestly, you know?
No, I I totally agree. What's the old saying? They say, the devil likes idle hands.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sitting around, and you've had a couple of rough deployments, or you had a couple of rough jobs, in law enforcement, you answer some, pretty tough jobs, with children being abused, or even like, just the worst of the worst that you can see. You're going to see it, whether you're in the military or in law enforcement. And the benefit of, you're not really thinking about it at the time, but you can cope with it better, because you gotta think about it. You think you're like this big tough whatever. You could be, some tough cop or military guy. You get out there and here's some scrawny 16-year-old kid. You're like, oh, what is this kid gonna do? And next thing you know, you're in a triangle, and you wake up. You're like, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah.
This kid just put me out in a few seconds. And it's a way to tell you, like, your problems are not as big as you think they are. And even when you're struggling in life, it's just like if somebody has you in a rear naked choke and you're fighting it. Life can choke the life out. It could take all your spirit away from you.
Yeah.
But if you keep fighting to survive and fight through that choke, you can make it through. And that's what jiu-jitsu has taught me, that you can make it through a lot of adversity in your life, a lot of adversity, if you just hold on. And unfortunately, we lose a lot of law enforcement, and we lose a lot of veterans to suicide, because they feel like they can't hold on anymore.
Yeah, and I mean that's like the big issue that a lot of the organizations, especially tied with jiu-jitsu, are trying to get with, is trying to help prevent that, loss of life through suicide from, the first responders and the military community. Like it's a big enough problem that there needs to be a little more attention to it. But, the more people we get in through jiu-jitsu, obviously, I feel like the better it is. Just being biased a little bit, I guess, seeing the firsthand seeing how it helps people dealing with difficult situations like you just described, and trying to get more of those people in is like something I'm really, really excited about, and really passionate about, trying to get more people to find out about. Like, I run a club on base here, and we got some we're more the nerdy guys out here for the military.
Yeah.
But we do got a few guys who do combat arms guys who come out, and it's having conversations with them, it's definitely helped them as well, and it's something I want to try to continue doing through through my jiu-jitsu journey.
Oh, well, it's an amazing thing. Like, there's different there's a lot of that popping up at different bases. I know a couple of black belts that I don't know them personally, but I look at them on social media. I see what they're doing. Like I hope I don't say his last name wrong, because I don't want him to kick my ass. He's kind of a brawly fucking man. But Alan Shibaro, he runs. Yeah. Like, they run with the We Defy. And I've been looking at with the We Defy and the Mission 22, and I'm just in awe, because they get it. They get it. This is something that a lot of veterans need, a lot of law enforcement need. And you know what? Even if you're not going through anything, mentally or psychologically, just the physical aspects of it. If we look at the culture and the military and law enforcement as a whole, you can see that, a lot of people are starting to get, a little out of shape, a little bit overweight, and it's starting to become more acceptable. And, you can't be in a life or death situation and can't make it up a flight of stairs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not going to work out for you. And then, you're carrying a gun, and the person may not have a gun, but guess what? You're bringing the gun to the situation. So there is a gun there, so you have to, not even physically, even mentally, you have to be prepared to last throughout the whole fight,
Yeah. So with you, like you said, you may not have the weapon, but like bringing the weapon to a possible confrontation, when you're rolling, when you're training, do you kind of put it in the back of your mind that any position that you're putting yourself in, you might have to possibly be able to pull your sidearm out, or do you like focus on just jiu-jitsu, and then when you do like police training, you focus on like police training?
At times, especially when I'm in close guard or I'm in a very disadvantaged position, I try to work on that gun retention programming. I try to roll over because I'm a righty, so I'll roll over onto my right side a little bit if I'm getting mauled, because if I'm in a real situation, I'm getting mauled. Of course, if my gun is exposed and this person's kicking my ass, I think the next thing that's going to happen is that gun's going to come out and be used against me. So you know what? I'd rather get my ass kicked than get a hole in my head.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Like the lesser of two evils for sure. But usually, like I feel, a lot of people who train aren't getting beat up by like roving bands of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like gangs or whatever, like you see in the movies and shit.
Oh man. Well, dude, like some of these black belts, I feel like I'm getting beat up by a roving band of friggin' jiu-jitsu. Like I could tell you, like between Brian and my older professor, and JT Torres is my current professor right now, and like JT Torres is like he's like a roving band of Puerto Rican Brazilian jiu-jitsu people. I feel like sometimes when I'm training against him, there's like 20 or 30 of them, and it's just an amazing thing because you don't expect the level of intensity, the conditioning, the strength, the technique all in one, and it's actually scary as a law enforcement officer, a military veteran, like to face somebody like that in the street. That right there would be life and death.
Yeah.
Without a weapon. And pain that you can go through rolling with someone with that, or fighting against someone with that kind of training and that kind of condition and the championship mentality, it's almost worse. It's an uphill battle on a muddy mountain,
Yeah.
You're not really going to survive that. So,
I would definitely hate to be in a position where I'd have to restrain like a black belt, a very like a very, very seasoned veteran in grappling or whatsoever, and be like, oh, you gotta take him down and you gotta pin him, and I'm like, all right, man, whatever you say. But that's gonna oh man, that's gonna be rough. That's gonna be super rough.
Oh, that's gonna be, and it's gonna be a taser situation. You may have to break out the taser because you're gonna have to I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. Because as with the slightest movement, you could be in a triangle, or omoplata, armbar, wrist lock. It depends, because But on the same token, there's some police officers that I know very well that are very high level trained in jiu-jitsu, judo, catch wrestling. One in particular is Junior Cruz. He was special forces in the Army.
Right.
He's an instructor in the police academy, and you look at him and he's a smaller framed gentleman, but the amount of pain that this man can inflict on you and just break your will, your spirit to fight, it's incredible, No,
like the thought of, like you said, just breaking your will and stuff like that. That's, oh my God. Like, I get what you're saying. I definitely would rather taser. Like if Marcus Buchecha, they're like, go detain him. I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to tase him. Forget that. And then even then I'd be scared, be like, if I just miss, then that's all she wrote, man. That's going to be it for me.
Oh, because then they're even more pissed off.
Exactly.
And, now instead of choking you out, they're going to start just breaking limb by limb,
Yeah, exactly.
And, that's the difference. That's also, too, where, the sport jiu-jitsu differs from, like, a combat-style jiu-jitsu or grappling art, where it's like, can you do berimbolo on the street, or, pull a De La Hiva or something like that on the street? Situation dictates. But, the concrete is kind of harder than the mat,
Oh, yeah.
And there are no rules, at that point, So, I think a good balanced training for everything is always great, Like, by no means am I expert, but I've seen enough of life to realize that everything can work at the right time.
Right.
At the right time.
So there's a place place for everything.
Even a place for everything. Even like wrestling, like a simple arm drag, that can change a whole situation. Just a simple thing like that. Little kids learn this. And unfortunately you have a lot of adults that get into situations that, escalate to a level of physical force or whatever kind of force is used, that if there was a little bit of training or a little more time or the ability to slow things down, you wouldn't even have that situation. You know, the newspaper covered with all these different law enforcement and military bashing and anti-gun and all these different political, whatever the views are. You know, at the end of the day, we all got to live together, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the greatest part about jiu-jitsu. You can have somebody on the mat that completely disagrees with every view you have, but you know what? You slap hands and you bump and you start rolling, and then all that stuff goes away, you know? That's a great thing about it.
It really is. I mean, you know, been to enough academies where you've got people who are just adamantly against the military, but it doesn't affect how we roll. He isn't trying to kill me, and I'm not trying to kill him. It's just we're there for jiu-jitsu, not for anything else, really.
Exactly. And you could tap at the end of it and just start over, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, it's a great thing for a lot of people, you know, because we all go through things in life, you know, different portions. You know, I would consider myself a little more on the unlucky side. I tend to go through things a lot more than on the normal. I guess it's just the curse from Fort Benning, the old infantry curse. Like,
oh God,
we're just gluttons for punishment. I don't know, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, you strap on your rucksack, you lace up your boots, and you keep on going. And then the day that you can't go anymore, you won't even know it. So it is what it is. You just gotta keep fighting through, you know. And I believe like veterans have a very significant place in this country's history and the future. And unfortunately, I see a lot of the mentality, even in, you know, sometimes in jiu-jitsu too, you see the mentality of, oh, I deserve this, or you know, you don't deserve anything. Everything in life you earn. You don't deserve anything. You know, the only thing you deserved was the moment your mommy and daddy laid down and made you, and the day you came out the birth canal. You know, and that's it. The rest of it, guess what? Somebody's got to work for it, right? That milk isn't free.
No.
So, you know, and that's one thing I got to tell you, that, you know, being an infantry guy that taught me, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn, and, you know, I had a whole different view of the world, and I realized at a young age I had to get out of there because, you know, it's a tough place, you know, and you don't know that the bad guys are bad guys. You just think they're just guys from the neighborhood. But as you get older and you see things, you know, I had to get out of there. So I made a choice. It was a positive choice, and it may not have been the best for my health, my physical health, or whatever it may be. And, you know, but at the end of the day, it led me to where I am today. And I'm very thankful for all the opportunities that were given to me, you know.
Absolutely. Give you life experience, give you, like you said, you got to get out of there. You got to experience the world a little bit. And, you know, you came back and with a different viewpoint, and now you're doing jiu-jitsu, member of the law enforcement community. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you know, nothing's perfect, but hey, it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot better. But, you know, I'm thankful for what I have. You know, right now, my little French bulldog, he's harassing the shit out of me right now. Really, you know, he's get away from me. He's being a pain in the ass, you know? And I think that's the new official dog of jiu-jitsu.
The French bulldog? You think the French bulldog's a new one?
Yeah, I think that's because I think, you know, a lot of people are getting them, you know. Professor Torres, he has a little French bulldog. His name is Oliver, and my dog's name is Odin, and they have yet to meet. And I'm just wondering what is going to be a like clash of the titans with these two, you know, because they're crazy animals, you know.
Say what's funny is Sean, one of the guy who started the podcast with me, he has a French bulldog as well, Liffy, and she's a nutcase, man. Like when I went back for school in Arizona, I stayed with him for 2 months, and, you know, I'd just come back after classes and sit down on his couch, and she would just kind of walk over real slow and then just fucking attack, dude. Just wanted to play, wanted to, like, nibble on me, wanted to, like, lick me. She's nuts, man.
Oh, yeah, they're good for about, like, a good 15 minutes of action, and they're done. They're like a soldier that just came off deployment, and they, you know, a good 5 minutes, and they're done. You know, that's about it. You know.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to go out to California for Worlds this year. I'm sitting watching it from, you know, on the TV on Flow, And, you know, it's a good time out there. It's an amazing thing. You know, you go out there and the energy level is just amazing to see all these high level guys. Whether, you know, even if from white belt all the way up to black belt, like the bravery that it takes to go out there and basically like lay it on the line on the world stage, win or lose. I mean, that's just awesome. You're a cut above the rest. How many people have the strength, the mental strength to say, you know what, I'm going to Worlds, you know, and for everyone to watch me, everyone in the jiu-jitsu world that's there is going to watch me regardless of how I do.
Yeah.
You know, and I give them a standing ovation, you know, whether you win or lose, man, you showed up to the big show. That's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a goal for one day. You know, I'm in Germany right now, so it's a little difficult to fly out to Long Beach for a weekend.
Oh,
on multiple.
Yeah, that's a little far, you know.
A little bit.
That's a long. You'll be you need like a week and a half because you'll be tired the first 2 days when you get there.
Easily a week and a half. But
easy.
But I know this is kind of like a weird transition from Worlds and stuff. It was something I wanted to ask back when we were talking about it. So, you know, last time I took a flight to the States, I downloaded some movies and I finally got to watch The Warriors again. It had been years since I watched it, and you know, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Warriors.
Yeah, and I know it's not like nothing really based in reality. I know like back in the day there used to be gangs and stuff, but I was looking at it, you know, we were talking about roving gangs of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professionals, and I'm watching the beginning because like I said, it'd been years since I'd seen it, and now I'm coming at it with this, you know, martial arts mentality. And in the beginning, you know, like they had a kung fu gang just beat the crap out of the leader of the Warriors after he thought he shot the what's his name, the guy who was trying to bring all the gangs
Cyrus
together. Cyrus, yeah, he's the real deal, man.
Yeah, can you dig it?
And they just
beat Cyrus.
Yeah, man, they just beat the shit out of him kung fu style in the center of it. And I was thinking, like, what, like, from a law enforcement, I know this is like an off the wall question. From a law enforcement standpoint, how difficult would it be to like have to defeat like this large gang of just trained ninjas practically? That's like harassing the city. I think at that point, physical fitness will be your best martial art because you're going to have to be a track star. You know? Shit, yeah.
Because your best bet is like Chris Howder says. What does he say? He says, stay on top. One of his major rules is stay on top. Never get on the bottom because you know what? You got how many guys? 6, 7 guys pouncing on you. You get on the bottom, your life is over.
Yeah.
You know, stay on top, get one of them on bottom, and try to run away as fast as you can, you know, as quick as you can get away. I don't care if shoes fall off, everything. Just keep going, you know, because facing multiple opponents, it's tough. It's very tough. You know, and that's one thing going back to the jiu-jitsu part, one of my old professors, he used to actually do that, like where he's like more than one opponent in a grappling match, in a jiu-jitsu match, and during training, and it teaches you the level of intensity. You look for the weakness in one of them, and you go after it, and you try to take care of that situation as quick as possible. That way, you can handle the next one. You know, and that comes with a lot of mentality. You know, a lot of your how strong your mind is, your mindset. You know, you got to have that warrior mindset. Any grappling art or martial arts, as a matter of fact, because you know I've been doing martial arts for a while, like. You know, started in the basement in Chinatown doing like this kung fu. It was like a seedy little basement in Chinatown. Like some, old school Chinese guy from China would come and just rent a basement and put some sandbags and a wooden statue down there, and you're down there like hitting the sandbag with your hands, you know. And then you evolve into different things like Kyokushin karate. Then I was a member. I trained at Tiger Showman for a while. So I've seen my fair share of like different arts and the downfalls and the pluses and the minuses, and I'm hoping that, the art that, we all love, jiu-jitsu, doesn't fall down that road of, extreme commercialism where it's like everything is just for sale, and that would be a sad day,
that is something I do fear because if you're talking about the old school stuff, like if you look, there's always like waves of stuff or waves of martial arts that are, going to be popular for a while. So like the 80s was like what? Before the Karate Kid, what was it? Ninjutsu. Everybody wanted to be a ninja.
Oh Oh, yeah. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
The
Count Dante?
American Ninja?
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, yeah. Because, like, in the back of the
What's his name?
comment,
Sho Kazuki?
I have no idea. Man, it's been ages since I've seen that movie. I just remember him doing that slow motion, like, throwing star, like, throw at the end of the movie with the guy holding the gun. It hits him, and he goes, oh, like, real slow and drops the gun.
Oh,
Super
man.
dramatic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man. I remember those. Oh, my God. That was a bad time. But you know what's so funny about that is, like, being from New York and, like, they actually made ninja stars illegal here because people used to think they were fucking ninjas, bro.
Really?
Like, you get into a fight and they'll fucking throw ninja stars at you.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah, man. I'm dead serious. I remember when 42nd Street was actually, like, you had to go there with, like, a crew of people because it wasn't like now where it's owned by Disney and it's all safe. No, you go out there, man, and you're not rolling deep, you're going to get your ass kicked, you know? Guys used to walk around with the tabby shoes. You remember the tabby boots
Yeah,
that ninjas
yeah.
used to wear? Yeah, you see a guy with the tabby boots, you're like, nah, I'm not fucking with that guy. He's probably got ninja stars, shrinkings, all kinds of shit on him. And, you know, guys were getting ninja starred in the fucking eyes and all kind of shit, man. They were sharpening the stars. They used to sell them in 42nd Street along with switchblades and all kinds of different crazy shit. And, you know, they made it all very illegal, a dangerous instrument in New York State. So you can't have ninja stars, you can't have switchblades. There's a lot of things you can't have because the amount of violence these ninja movies created, you know. It's like a culture of ninja gangs rolling around Manhattan, you know. But
oh my God.
it was crazy, you know. And the movies were horrible movies. Oh, you know.
What just made it worse? It just made it worse, I bet. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, you got the ninjas, like, in the 80s, and I think it kind of switched over to karate at that point. You know, so everybody had, you know, like a karate school or a ninjutsu school, and, you know, you come in and you throw down a few thousand now, and, you know, in like 3 years you'll get a black belt, then you become a black belt in karate, and you can, you know, go out in the street and fucking throw ninja stars at people, I guess. But, you know, like,
I guess
that's how the commercialization goes. Like, you know, I've seen it with Taekwondo, but I'm kind of worried that we're, like you said, you know, it's going to be a sad day if we start going that way, but I think we kind of are. Just like a small portion of it, we are.
Yeah, but I hope the what I call like the guardians of jiu-jitsu, you know, the real high level competitors, you know, the real, you know, the black belts, you know, they try to hone that in, and you know, if they see students going that way, I hope they put them in check, because I mean, if we lose jiu-jitsu, I think we pretty much lost it all. I mean, what else is there left? What are we going to go to? Tai Chi, and you know, and then. It's not good. Jiu-jitsu is the realest thing you can actually have. You know, it's reality, because I've done tournaments in karate where it's like, you know, you're wearing your pads and, you know, you're doing this weird bounce around thing, and you kick and you're like, and you get a point and you're like, all right, good. Like, I'm a champion now. Like, I kicked them in the shin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like,
you hit them and it stops after every time you hit them too.
Yeah, that's not reality, because guess what? What if this guy's, you know, hyped up and you hit him and he's like, yeah, give me some more, you know? You're like, oh shit, I'm fucked right now, you know? It's like, but you know, jiu-jitsu, I say more ADCC style, like more the submission kind of grappling, because like, you know, with the points and stuff like that, you can stall and you can hold and stuff like that, you know, but like a submission only, like there's no faking that at all. Like, if you get the submission, you get the submission. There's no, you know, stopping it and saying you got a point or anything like that. It's all legit, you know. But again, like, it's no, you know, no knock on anything. You know, everybody has their tournaments that they love, you know. I used to, you know, compete a lot in IBJJF. I did a couple of ADCCs, and you know, I prefer those particular tournaments over, you know, other tournaments. Now you have other tournaments like Grappling Industries and the Good Fight, which they're very good. Like, the Good Fight has different rules, that it's more like a street fight. And now you have this other one. It's a Fight to Win. I don't know if you've heard of that yet.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, I saw one of those in New Jersey. It was, when I saw the guy pull guard and get slammed, I was like, holy shit. I thought they were going to stop it and disqualify the guy, but they went ahead. I was like, yes, this is it, finally, you know? a little bit of reality. You know, you could pull guard. You can't jump and pull guard in a street fight. You're gonna die.
Yeah, you can fucking slam down the pavement.
Yeah, it's over. If you wake up, you're not gonna be happy, to say the least. You know,
not at all. So
no, not at all. And
I'm sorry. No, go ahead, man.
And I think also too, what I've been seeing too is a big trend in the stand-up arts again.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of people are getting back into the takedowns. You know, and I think jiu-jitsu is starting to turn into a mixed grappling art. I don't even know if you can call it jiu-jitsu anymore because there's so many things. You have the judo, you have the jiu-jitsu, all these different things. Catch wrestling too. Some parts of catch wrestling, like Niwaza. You know, is it Travis Niwaza? I think his name is.
Yep.
It's kind of funny. You know, it's a small world. But we went to the same high school. We didn't know each other, but we went to the same high school when I lived out in California, Palm Desert High School. Wow. And touching back, he's big on the catch wrestling, and I didn't know what that was, and I started researching it, and catch wrestling is awesome art, and you see it now in all the competitions. Like everything is starting to be in play, everything, and that's great. It just evolves, but we just don't want it to turn into McDojos. No,
not at all, man. That's the worst thing we can do. Like no sparring, no testing yourself, pay a few $100 and you magically get your blue belt or your purple belt. Like that's all the trends that would make the art just, fucking nosedive in quality.
Oh man. And talking about like the rank and stuff like that, like the one thing about jiu-jitsu is that you could, no matter what rank you achieve or how you earn it or whatever, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to prove that rank.
Yep.
And that's a big difference between a lot of other arts. You can be a grandmaster of the northern region or whatever art it is and never have to prove it to anybody. You might do a kata and look nice and scream and yell and look fancy, but with a grappling art, you're going to have to prove that rank on the mat. And once you lose that respect, like, oh, this guy, how did he get that purple belt? The community's real small. It's going to spread and they'll be like, oh, this guy's full of shit, So me personally, like the two ranks they are in jiu-jitsu are white and black. Everything else is just along the journey,
Yeah. Just like, don't focus too much. A lot of people get focused on just getting the belt. Like, oh, I need the belt. 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 Like now I just am kind of like, I don't care.
Oh, man. And you know what it was too? I fell into that trap in the beginning. Everybody, the stripes, and you're like, oh wow, I want a stripe. I think I've been doing good. I've been training hard. How come I can't get a stripe? And it comes to a point where it's like every stripe and every belt you get, it just gets harder.
Oh yeah.
Because purple belt, you're like a target for everyone. Because it's like the white and the blue belts see you as like, oh, I'm gonna make my bones on this guy. Oh, if the professor's watching, watch me smash this purple belt, And that's basically saying, I've proven myself. I'm worthy of a purple belt because I just smashed one. Then you have the brown and black that like, listen, there's no way this purple belt's gonna smash me. So I'm gonna make sure that I give him a good thrashing.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, that good thrashing actually turns you into a better purple belt or black belt, whatever it is. Because if you're the king of the hill and you're always winning, how are you learning?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. There's no upside there, And believe me, I've lost quite a bit, and I'm fine with that because I learn my limits. I learn what I need to do, what I don't need to do, and I'm blessed. I'm honestly blessed to have the training partners I have and the people that I've met along the journey, and it's amazing,
Yeah, the journey a lot of people do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's usually pretty blessed, I would say. And there are some groups, like you said, you'll find like a really hard time finding a McDojo and BJJ. They still exist, and like I really feel for those people. Like they're not getting the full like good experience from doing like jiu-jitsu.
No, not at all. And they're actually they're getting robbed of something I think is really an amazing experience. You know, I've been to many different places around the world. I lived east, west coast, down south. You know, and I could tell you the level of friendship that you can achieve with people in jiu-jitsu, especially like you going through different trials and tribulations. They go to support you at tournaments. You know, you lose, they're there for you. You win, they're there for you. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing. And you know, it's also a good business too, because if you look at like the gis, how much the gi situation in jiu-jitsu, even if you do no gi, like the amount of different companies and the different levels, you know, it's an amazing opportunity. It changes people's lives.
It does. And with that experience you get, something else I wanted to ask, with that experience you get, right? You say you've traveled all over. Do you feel that your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience from all these different places, has it helped you with your job being a police officer?
I believe it has, because you know what? It teaches you patience. It teaches you, you know, we don't have to rush to execute something. You know, we don't have to rush to put hands on someone. We can wait, because you know what? You know that you can handle yourself in pretty much almost any situation. So there's no rush to escalate the situation, you know? Even if it's being escalated on you, you know, and you're confident, you should know and you should be confident in your abilities to know that, you know, okay, I can handle this until a certain point.
Okay. No, that makes sense. It really does. So with a lack of rush and whatnot, you feel that, you know, for a department, I know, like, I'm not asking policy, just kind of your opinion. Should more people, like we talked about, like in the military as well, be trained jiu-jitsu to aid them with their job in law enforcement or like first responders or stuff like that?
That should be mandatory. That's, you know, I believe it's in Japan, and they have to go through actual like training there with grappling arts. You know, I believe that should be a much larger focus than you know, learning how to write a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of bad situations come out from the physical confrontations, and if you're not able to handle yourself in a physical confrontation, I mean, everything else goes out the window. You know, because you know, in the real world, people get hurt. This is not training. It's not a video game. It's not TV. You know, you see all these movies like John Wick where, you know, he's doing jiu-jitsu and they're shooting and they're in a full-fledged firefight and he's pulling a flying triangle. I mean, it's not really going to work in the real world. I think, you know, a real-world application of jiu-jitsu or judo, wrestling, a combination should be emphasized on all law enforcement, whether it be federal level, state level, you know, city. You know, it's already being done in the military. You know, I don't understand why the transition. I think, you know, there's some liability issues there, and I understand that, but there's a technique for everything.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100% on that. And, you know, it's good to hear that it does help you. And, yeah, it definitely does need to be mandatory. At least I feel that as well. So
absolutely. I think especially for women, you know, I know that's a touchy subject when anyone says the word, you know, women, but jiu-jitsu is, I think it should even be taught in school, you know, to be honest with you, because, you know, not only to build self-confidence, but a self-defense aspect, you know, because, you know, let's face it, you know, in the real world, you know, people do get sexually assaulted. And, you know, if you learn jiu-jitsu and you know how to operate in the closed guard, I mean, that's not going to be a good day for that person, you know?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
I'm all about hearing about potential rapists getting their arms broken and getting choked unconscious by people they think are victims.
Absolutely. You know, you try to rape someone and, you know, they invite you into their closed guard, and next thing you know, you wake up, and if you wake up, that's the case.
Yep.
You know, or, you know, your arm is broken, your wrist is broken, and all bets are off at that point. You know, there's no, you know, single digit rules at that point. Eye gouging, fish hooking, pulling ears off. You know, so from a self-defense standpoint, being attacked like that and you end up in the closed guard, oh, you know, that's that's very important, you know. And I think grappling arts in general should be taught in schools. It's kind of going away. You know, you don't see many wrestling programs anymore.
Yeah, which sucks.
You know, yeah, it really does, because you know what, the grappling arts teach you something about yourself. You know, it's an adversity that you have to overcome. You know, and I couldn't believe they were talking about getting wrestling out of the Olympics at one point. That's madness. You know.
But we can keep, what is it, the rhythm gymnastics? You know, the ribbon. Yeah, that's way better.
Oh, yo, speed walking.
Yeah.
How the fuck is speed walking? Well, how the fuck is that a fucking sport? I mean, yeah, you know, it's tough. Don't get me wrong. I mean, speed walking, yeah, but come on. Wrestling has been in the Olympics since the onset of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Or any kind of games. That's one of the oldest arts. The grappling arts are one of the oldest combat arts ever in this world. You know, and they started, their origins of everything came from, I believe, India. Karate came from India. All these different arts came from that country, that region. So it's just, you know, disheartening to think that we've turned into a nation or a world of, you know, don't touch me, you know, of a fantasy. But in the real world, there are people out there that really want to hurt you, you know, and you have to know how to defend yourself, you know.
No, and that's the shitty reality, is that there are shitty people out there who want to try to hurt people for their own gain.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of shitty people out there, you know, that, and you know, you face that sometimes in every martial art. You have shitty people. You have, you know, just look at what's going on around the world, you know, with the different attitudes, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yep, Mike, you're 100% correct, man. Like this has been like a really good episode as well. Like I really do enjoy, like I said, having somebody with law enforcement experience as well as military experience. And unfortunately, we can't talk for hours on end. But
oh yeah, definitely.
Before we head out, is there you know, the floor is yours. You're open for like shout outs or whatever you want to do. Just you know, go for it. Say thanks to whoever and anybody. Like the floor is yours, man.
Well, you know, I like to say thanks to everybody that's always been there for me. You know, my Brian, Lincoln, Professor Torres, you know, everybody at Essential Jiu-Jitsu, you know, especially like We Defy, Mission 22, and the gi brands that I really like. You know, I know some of the people that work there. They always treated me well. You know, Jay Pizarro from Illis, you know, Bear and all these guys from Shoyoro, and you know, just keep going. You know, let's just keep going, keeping up the positive vibes. You know, Arveg from AMP. And of course, who cannot say jiu-jitsu without Master Hanato Oranja?
Oh, of course.
You know, he has started a new campaign, you know, against child support. You know, and this guy, he cracks me up, man. You know, that's a special shout out to him, because we talk sometimes on Facebook about, you know, different things. And he's a great guy, you know, great comedian, and the shit he does just kills me, man. Just kills me. So, you know, just keep training and forget about the bullshit, all that, and let's just keep grinding, you know. Like JT says, he says, let's get at it. You know, every time we're taking comp class and we're training, it's like, let's get it. And that's it. Just go get it, you know. Don't let shit hold you down, and just keep training.
Hell yes. Perfect words to live by, in my opinion. Just go get it.
Hell yeah.
Well, hey, I really do. Yep. I do appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure talking with you for this past little bit and getting your perspective.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I had a good time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find another podcast you want to listen to, and check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, Tape Armor, Angry Joe Coffee, and PNR Performance. Find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. Get yourself a shirt, maybe a patch. I think there's some patches left on there as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. It makes me happy. It keeps me from, you know, hearing my wife say that my show sucks, because she watches it, or she listens to it too. But thanks for all the support, guys. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys next time.